are going in your internships, and then I want to see your updated website and portfolio and your business cards. And there's a resurgence in business cards. Don't ask me why. I didn't know this when I asked you guys to make them, so see how ahead of the curve we are here at Highlands?
Yes.
So I have Johnny's up on the screen, which I'm going to share, and we'll just take a look at them and scroll through his portfolio, just as kind of an introduction to what we're going to do. So let me share the screen. All right, so can you guys see Johnny's?
There it is.
Wait a minute. Okay, can you see Johnny's business cards?
Now I can.
Can. Okay, great. What do we think about the red on black?
Is Johnny here with us?
He's not.
Okay. I mean, I would say it if he were here too.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give him.
I have a hard time with the red on black.
Okay.
But this is a business card, so maybe in your hand it looks a little different, but on the screen it's hard to focus on that.
Especially on the projector.
On the projector, yeah.
Right.
But I am having a hard time with that, and I would, yeah.
He
that's
could
it.
make it a burgundy rather than a bright red, rather than a fully saturated red.
Oh, I lost my screen. I was gonna say the red doesn't bother me so much. I just don't. I mean, at the front of it, or with just the logo, is really pretty with the red.
Yes.
But where he used it for his name and his email, it kind of gets. It's kind of hard. It's not really vibrating, but it's still kind of hard to read.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand the choice as to why his name and the email. It looks like. It looks kind of strange with the white between the two red pieces. So maybe if it was just his name and it was in a bigger font.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And really,
maybe he could just keep the text on the back of it white, and instead of a gray logo on the back, he can make that like a little red opacity instead of gray, just to keep the continuity.
Okay. All right, that's all good feedback. I feel like the red text does bother me, even where it says Alvarez Design. That text bothers me too on the front. So that seems to be the issue. So I'm going to give Johnny some feedback on that, and we'll, without him here to really respond to it, I think. It's just a good kind of point of departure to start talking about what's a good design for a business card. I mean, it's small, and you're right, maybe in your hand it's not going to be so kind of immediately vibrating, but I feel like black and red can be problematic for other reasons as well. Like if he made the background, in my opinion, a charcoal gray, I think he could use these red elements. And maybe, Al, you're right, not sandwich it on the front. But if you made the back a charcoal gray, it might work better. I don't know, it might vibrate more. I need to see it. But I'm going to give him some feedback on that. Otherwise, I really like his logo.
Yeah, I do too.
I think his logo is kind of great. Okay. All right, so Johnny's business cards. All right, so then, who would like to go next? Oh, hi, Allie. You're up on the screen. Who would like to
Okay.
go next?
Go.
You want to go next, Ally, since you're right there?
I still have some issues that I'm trying to work out on mine. I can show it, but I need to export it first.
Okay, all right. Who wants to go next?
So, after whoever's next?
I can go.
Okay.
But you can go to the AmeriCorps page. I just posted a photo. That's part of my explanation of my business card.
Okay. So, great. Let's.
And do I have to go up there, or can they hear me and talk and see?
No, you should come up here.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna log in Facebook from here.
I guess I should take notes.
Let's see if I can remember my Facebook password. Let's see.
You don't keep it the same with everything else? I do.
Oh, it worked.
It worked, okay. Go to the AmeriCorps page, and then we can just, everybody can just see that. It was just something I did this morning to kind of explain my madness or my method, I'm not quite sure. Okay, so you can click on the photo. Okay,
Okay.
so I have a hard time with business cards, and should I talk, what do I talk to?
Yeah, they're there.
Okay,
They're just seeing the screen.
okay, so, and I've never had a business card, and I think that's been inconvenient at times. And I don't know why I don't have business cards, but this is what I do with business cards. When I get them, I stick them in this thing and I forget about them. I never pay attention to business cards. I have a hard time keeping business cards as well as making my own. So I thought, well, what better way, what can I do to do something a little different? So I did look at 2 websites for business cards and then also for magnets, because I'm interested in magnets. And then I just thought, well, why not make my own, which is this right here, which is a photo, all my photography with a hand-typed, which you're welcome to see and pass around, information, which is my name and my websites and my phone number, because they make great, you can hang up your children's art, you'll put it on your fridge, you can stick it as a bookmark, you know? So this is like, you can put a poem on your fridge. So I feel like this is something that if I gave somebody, and I'm not sure if it'd be the scale or smaller, maybe half the size of a photo with that hand-typed information, or maybe, I mean, I rarely pass out business cards, and I rarely will ever pass out 100 business cards. And like I said, I only keep the ones I think are really cool, but I never look at them again. And
What do you think the value of having a business card would be?
I think it will remind people about who I am and what I do. And I did think about that on the business card. Should I put multimedia artist? Should I put photography, film, audio? But if they go to my websites, then they'll see the work that I do and my capabilities, because it's all the multimedia work, which I have not, and these are different kinds here too. Updated my website because that is something I am working on. I'm trying to figure out how to, I have 3 websites. I have the TaraYvonneTrudell.com website, which is my really formal website with more of my educational, like AmeriCorps, all that kind of stuff. And then I have the Tumblr site, which is a little more informal with poetry and photography. And then I have a website called Llano del Coyote, which is my gallery. And you can buy things off there. So I'm trying to figure out how to link the Llano del Coyote gallery to the Tara Yvonne Trudell gallery, so you can purchase through the gallery there, whether it's photography or t-shirts or beads or anything like that. So I am working on that. But that's my idea for a business card. I mean, it's not your conventional business card, but I think most people I know, if I do give them one, they'll keep it and they'll maybe stick it on their fridge and they'll remember, oh yeah, you know. And then I seal the information on there so they wouldn't tear it off and keep just the photo. so that's what I have. And
So what do you guys think? What's your impression about Tara's idea?
I've heard this whole statement before with business cards, and you just take them and throw them, and how do we make them more interesting, how do we do this? And so, I mean, might as well try something new that's different
And that's what I was thinking, why not, you know, being the person that I am and always kind of pushing that a little bit, I thought, well, why not do something a little different? I mean, I can maybe, and I did look at a site for magnets, I could order like 100 magnets with an image on it, maybe 4 colors and information. I thought, well, that's cool. This is, you know, it's not too expensive, it's a little time consuming, but I enjoy it, and I really don't think I'm ever gonna pass out a ton of business cards, you know, and there might have been times when people have asked me for a business card and I didn't have one, but you know, I scribble my name or my number down, and that has worked well too. I think this is something that if they slip it into their jacket, their pocket, they'll pull it out, like, oh yeah, and they'll stick it on their fridge,
Right.
you know, or somewhere that's, you know, metallic. And then maybe they'll remember it, or they'll think it's innovative enough that they'll check out the websites if they're really interested.
The magnet's pretty versatile, you put those up at, like if you're doing a poetry.
You know, I could,
course, you can
yeah, these are
showcase
actually,
them on some metal somewhere.
yeah, you know, and I thought about that too. I could do lines of poems with my information on it in something, in a sleeve, and just slap it up somewhere. You know, it's kind of like how I want to present myself in a way.
Right.
But I have resisted business cards, and I think it's because I take people's business cards, and if they're really cool, I keep them, and I feel bad if I throw them away because I know that they spent time or money or effort on it, but I don't go through business cards looking for people. I just don't do that, and I'm, you know, but I do have like really favorite ones in this little thing right here that have been gathered for years, so.
So I have some design feedback.
Yes,
If you want
yes,
if you want to do magnets like this, you could have the photo formatted so that it was just part, maybe 2/3 of this, and then have your information kind of in a vertical space on the side, because I feel like you're blocking your photo with the with this information. Or you could just type it in some way directly onto the photo without the white background.
Yeah.
Only because I feel like that you know, the point is if they want something really nice to use as a magnet, they'll want to see the entirety of your photograph, right? Not just not just part of it and then your information slapped on there, right?
Yeah.
Like figure out in some way to get these two elements, design elements to merge.
To merge, yeah, and I thought about that too, like just, and I did check out the magnet one, and they can probably do that. They can probably figure out a way to make all that.
You know, or even along, even just
the website on the bottom.
Just along the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to take up
I like that
all
too.
this space. I mean, it could just be the website on the bottom,
Which I like that.
which
idea.
has your name in it.
Which has and that's it, it has my full name in it, and then they go to the website to contact me,
Exactly.
which is, I like that idea a lot. So this was like just the prototype for making this idea, and then I could order them smaller definitely, so they're easier.
Yeah.
And I would rather invest in that and give that out than a business card that I know people won't keep. Because I don't do it, so I'm just figuring if I don't do it, why would I expect somebody else to keep my business card?
Well,
You
it
know.
might if it has a nice photo on
It
it.
has a nice photo, yeah, exactly. Because I thought about putting it on the back side too, I could always put the information, but they won't be this.
No,
This
yeah.
is just an idea of
But
what
if
it
it's
could
a
look like.
magnet,
Yeah,
you don't want it on the back.
right. So that's my idea.
What do you guys
Hi.
think? Oh, go ahead, Ally.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm sorry.
You weren't
I
gonna say?
wasn't, about the business card.
No.
And I will check into that though, I did bookmark a couple of websites. I sent them to myself just to look at the magnet ones a little bit more intensely, because I did try to do it myself on my pages, whatever, they're so boring. And I just thought, I don't want to just slap my name on something and give it to people. I'd rather it kind of represent my work. So that's why I thought magnets would be kind of cool. And so I thought, well, what do I have? And then I put that together. So I do think I would pursue that. Definitely. Go ahead, Jake, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, first off, I'm loving the whole lovely photo thing. Because, you know, if it was just like, say like, just a white business card with some text on it, yeah, I'd probably rip it up and throw it away.
Yeah,
But, you know, that, just the photo, you know, it's nice, I would put it up somewhere. And then, you know, and then your text is not overcrowding anything, it's nice to space, I like it. And then to turn it into a magnet, I love that idea.
thank you.
I mean, you can just throw it up on your fridge or on like your file cabinet next to
That's
your
what I was
computer.
thinking, you know, we all have metal something when we're
Yeah.
working, I mean, I have metal cabinets or you know, metal desks. And it was this idea that we're kind of streamlining, or typing them up on beads, which I thought was kind of a cool idea to give people beads on a little chain. But those are harder to keep track of, and I want to put them on their keychain, but that's a lot of work too. So I think this would be better streamlined, a little more professional, and maybe just pick one photo that would be represent like the wings or the hummingbirds, because that's kind of like,
You have used that hummingbird photo as, it's almost becoming an iconic image for you. So
the hummingbird with that's flying,
Yeah.
yeah, and that would be a good one to use. And that one I actually have done that in Illustrator, where it's just the outline, so that would actually look nice on a white card with black, and then just that, if I decided not to photograph and make it really simple and economical, or you know, so I do like that idea. That would be one I'd put on top of my list. Because I think the magnets might be a little expensive, because I did check it out, like you get 4 colors, and then it starts getting a little bit more pricier. You know, but this is just the first site I checked out. It could not be. But I thought photos on magnets, everybody does it. It's just finding out one source. But I like that idea too, of taking that one hummingbird and maybe just doing the outline with my website on the bottom. All right, and so I can't show you my updated website because I haven't really finished it, but I've been thinking about it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, like, how do I best utilize it to join them together, you know, all 3. But I think...
Well, why couldn't you just say, you know, visit my Tumblr on your website and
Yeah.
the link to your Tumblr?
And that's what I need to do. And then I'm thinking with the Llano del Coyote, which has the gallery, is it people, I mean, it would send them, I don't know, I'm still figuring that one out, how to get them to shop. Because I don't want to have stores and everything, but I want them to go to one place, you know?
Well, you could just have a tab in your main website that says visit my online
My
store.
gallery, okay.
Visit my gallery, visit my online store.
And then they go there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
All right,
it could
that's
just be
that.
as easy as that, and the same thing with your Tumblr, visit my Tumblr.
All right. But I am taking notes to update it, and it will be done by the time we have finals.
Okay.
Because I thought I should put the workshops that I've done, even if it's like Cesar Chavez and that I want to do. Because I think if people are interested in doing workshops, they can go to my website and either communicate with me, dialogue with me, book me, whatever we can do for these websites, the beadwork and the workshops that I do.
Right.
I think that needs to be on there. Like, I'm just getting that sense that I need to do that so people know how to contact me.
Right.
So I will work on that.
Good. Mimi and Allie, one thing you guys can do is log into the Facebook page and write comments if that might be a way to, you know, participate in this particular discussion or give
Or
feedback.
just tell me.
Or you can just speak up.
But I do like yours. I like that one hummingbird. I do feel like that would be one that represents. Because I was thinking, oh, which one really represents, you know?
Okay.
Yes. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so then let's kind of move on from this place. I feel like you've got some direction.
Yeah, no, that helps a lot.
And I'd like to see something resolved by finals.
Okay.
So that you are kind of, you know, branding yourself in a way that when somebody goes and looks at your portfolio and you go meet them in person because they want to meet you, you have something you can hand them.
Okay.
And
All right.
more often than not, it's the meeting and it's the networking of the meeting. And even if that business card is only used once
It's that.
as a way to seal that networking opportunity, that's enough,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's
I'll work on some prototypes of what we're talking about and send them to you
Mhm.
before I print them, just to kind of get to that
Right.
point. But yeah, I see where they do come in handy. You know,
Yeah.
I've had people and I don't have it to give it to them, and it's always like, oh, okay. But
Mhm.
yeah, those are the ones that you want to give to, the
And
ones
the
who
other
ask.
thing you want to do is, if you have a Twitter,
I do.
then you want to put that on there, because the other thing you want them to do is follow you on Twitter so they can see the stuff that you're doing.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so really, it's more about, I mean, the business card is really just the physical representation of having that
Okay.
networking opportunity at that particular moment,
All right.
in that particular time, right?
Okay.
And it's just sealing that connection.
Okay.
And if you think of it that way, and you don't think of it as like something that somebody has to hold on to, or you even have to
Right,
hold on
right.
to forever, then that's all, that's enough. That's good enough,
All right.
right?
Well, and it does, it helps to make you look, more professional too, because I've been in those situations like Tara's talking about, where either I give my business card to somebody who I know is probably not going to use it, and it feels like, oh, I spent money on these, that kind of felt like a waste, or somebody who I don't really have, like as far as networking is concerned, I might not use them in the future or something, but also that I've been in a spot where people ask you for a business card and you don't have one,
Yeah.
and it feels super unprofessional, and it feels like you did lose that opportunity to network with that person. And so even just to have them just to, in a professional world, to be professional,
Thanks, Ally. No, that helps. It helps because I agree with you that, I've been in those situations too. And I think if you want to step up the professionalism of anything that we do, it's nice to always have that as an investment. So, yeah, great. That was valuable feedback. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to what's happening right now, currently, in your internship, and what,
What I'm doing. My internship with United World College right now is great. I feel, though I kind of talked about last night, where I went into a situation with YouthWorks where I was a little more needed in my skill set for them. And here at the United World College, I don't feel I'm as needed as much by the students because they're so incredibly intelligent and media savvy. But because I'm working with the film group, it's one day a week I meet with the film group, and then I'm also working with the director of marketing, helping him with any of the needs that whether it's photography or film. But yet we're trying to get the students to do as much work of this as we can. So we're basically bringing students in who can volunteer and having them do the work, and then I'm just kind of overseeing it with John Sheedy, who is the film mentor at UWC. So it's really, it's just a different situation for me. So I'm kind of still getting used to that, like where, okay, well, like I go to the film class and they already, like, they're doing it, but, so I don't really need to be so hands-on with them. So John and I meet once a week and we discuss that. And so what we do is we have collaborated on schedules, because we have 2 leaders in that class, and we let them know this is what we want to cover. We want to do audio, we just want to give introductions, we want to do critiques. And they're a little resistant to that, but he's really supportive, so we're really trying to implement that into the class before we start. And so that's great, and I just met with him yesterday, and not all the students are media savvy, there's some that aren't, so offering them more support is something I can do.
So tell me what you do day to day. Like, you go into the classroom with John Sheedy,
Yeah,
and you work with him,
Yeah.
with these students.
so we help with the critiques.
Okay.
If we're doing audio equipment, we share audio stories, we talk about different sounds we can record. It's basic kind of like classroom stuff, Last week we critiqued footage that they've all collected. This week we're going to do Premiere and Final Cut editing, introduce that to them. So I think now might be a little more hands-on and helping them do editing. And then with Carl Martin, the director, who I'm kind of helping too, because they want to do birthday videos for their alumni and all that. So I'm just letting the students get their stuff together, and then we're gonna help them edit it.
Okay.
But it's kind of a tricky thing with these students because they are, I'm not gonna say know-it-alls, but they're very confident, so you can't just go and tell them what you think they should do. You kind of have to word it right. But they do take on a lot, and they take on too much, and I can see that is already happening with some of them, so I know it's going to be a matter of us just coming in and helping them finish these projects. And then I've been documenting their events. We did the Inside Out project at the church here, which was really a big deal because they really wanted to do that in Santa Fe to attract attention and introduce the students to Santa Fe, and it was really difficult. I went to Santa Fe a few times at Warehouse 21, and we measured and we tried to figure out where we'd put 150 posters and this size and that, and there's so many restrictions in Santa Fe, and things had to be built and come down right away, which took away from the wheat pasting Inside Out project purpose. So I suggested that we do it in Vegas because there's so many vacant buildings, and they said, yeah, well, maybe we could do that. So I contacted Alan, who owns the Baptist church here, and he said, sure, no problem. So it was a real success. I've never wheat pasted before, but I take all my research seriously, so I learned how to wheat paste because I was in charge of doing all that as well, is getting the supplies to them and getting everything ready that day. And I documented that for my own purposes as well as to share with them. So everything I document, I'm putting in a file for United World College to use for their purposes. And so that was a good success, and it also brought United World College students into this community because they are a part of this community, and it was really important to get that. Even though they know it at the United World College, I think they have a hard time bridging that gap. So doing that was the first project, but it opened the dialogue to involve youth next time that are from Las Vegas, and we're hoping to do that in the spring. And if this particular photographer can't come back and do it, I'm willing to do it, you know, and do it and get more of these students to start merging those two. So that was a really big, it was a success, I would have to say. And then I work directly under Naomi Swinton, who is my main mentor, and that's just fast-paced, and whatever needs to be done, I do. If they're doing a Caribbean dinner, so I came up with flyers for them, and I helped them print the tickets. And this is a great vintage map that we have on our kitchen wall. So this is like fun stuff for me. It's like, I know you guys all know how to do this. But, so I do that for her in a pinch, because things are always like, okay, we need a building in 3 weeks, we need to do this in 1-2 weeks. So it's kind of fast-paced, but it seems to be the norm up at the United World College. So I feel that I fit in because of all my training in this department. That really is the truth, but that height, like I kind of thrive in that when we got to get things done, the sink or swim thing. So this weekend we've been planning for the past, since that project finished, we're planning this project. So it seems like it's going to be project to project to project and a lot of prep. So what I'm doing now for this big project coming up, in addition to these other things that I do during the week, is we've been meeting and we're planning a 2-day workshop at Warehouse 21 with 120 students. And it's a huge workshop. I'll be facilitating a workshop all day long. Everybody has different departments. I'll be doing resilience. And then I'll be doing a bead workshop for a storytelling hour in the evening with the students. And yeah, I've never done that before, so it's a little, you know, but I rise up to it, so I'm looking forward to it. So there's going to be like communication, resilience, empathy, and then I think there's one other, like community building or communication. So they have a main speaker who comes in, and then we just do support, but we're all getting workshops to facilitate. So I'll be doing resilience like all day long. So I'll have 20 students, they leave, 20 students, they leave, 20 students, they leave, like all day. Saturday we do a workshop at night.
Wow.
Sunday's the same thing. It is a lot, right? And it's not just waiting to the day to do this, it's all this prep, which I think Youth Media Project taught me. So it's like building on these blocks. And will I succeed in getting this done on Saturday? I don't know. But I feel like I have the support there at the college. So that's what I'm doing.
So just, okay, so like overall then, do you feel like this is going along?
It's
well
great.
for you? Do you
It's
feel-
great. I love it. I feel that they can utilize me a little bit more, and I've let like John Sheedy, like, hey, you know, I can help with the Amnesty International group. Like, what do you need?
Good,
You know, I helped him set up the Dia de los Muertos exhibit, and I photographed it for him. Just real basic photographs because he wasn't able to do it. And I think just by extending myself like that too, and supporting them, they're really appreciative of that. But I do let them know, like Naomi too, like I was like, you know, Naomi, I can do all this. This is like something you take off your plate, you give to me, and it's done.
Right,
And she's realizing that now.
right.
And I think when we have the issue of like the posters and trying to put up 150, being able to find my voice and say, why not do it here? And it was very well received by all of them.
I feel like that is so critical for you to be a voice for and an advocate for Las Vegas, because so often the World College consider themselves as being outside of Santa Fe, by the way. They don't
I
consider
see
themselves
that.
as being outside of Las Vegas. So I feel like that it's really, really important for them to understand what community they're actually a part of, and how they can integrate and work with this community.
And I see that definitely, and I'm wondering if that's maybe part of my role too, without it being a role I took on, but it is becoming that, is that little bridge to this community, because then this community is just, you know, as valuable as these. Oh, I mean, we're all, you know, we're here together. So I think, and they do come here and they shop here, and they, you know, they offer a lot of volunteer services to our community, that I think our community is not even aware that we have students that spend the night, Friday night to Saturday at the homeless shelter every weekend. And I think that's just phenomenal that they do that. But maybe we can figure out ways to bridge the gaps here, that we can get more youth on this side joining on that side. So, you know, I'm totally open to that. And I know, as like I said, things pick up, because it sounds like the semester will be coming. They have events, they have, you know, things that I document through photography and that, but and then support with the film group. It's been great for me because I'm around film again, and I'm around the camera, and I'm around handy recorders that are really cool, and I'm getting to use the equipment again, you know, so, because I've kind of strayed away from doing that so much as I do photography and like this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
So can I say a couple things?
Yes.
One is, Tara, your description of we'll put this in quotes, the know-it-all factor. One of the things that I think is so impressive that happens at Highlands that you don't see everywhere is the process of a respectful critique, and the way that the students develop that skill, which I think is something that really makes you guys really valued in the workplace, is your ability both to give it but also accept it, which not everybody arrives at Highlands with that skill set. I think it's very, and you might talk to John about that, you know, that's something that you got out of your education that they could be providing. Because I just think there's so much value in it.
John is really about critiques as well. I mean, he's a film guy. He has done amazing documentaries. It blows my mind how good he is and how humble he is. But he is a stickler for critiques. They have resisted him. But I think having me there too, and me saying, yeah, we need critiques. We met yesterday and talked about this, because they resisted the critiques, but John kept pushing it, and so when we meet, I'm like, yeah, we need critiques. This is very helpful for them. So we explain that to them, and we're hoping that they get more away from it than, because we just went over this last week with them in detail about critiques and how you give a critique and how do you take a critique. So it's something that we want to do more with them, because we realize that too. They'll just do whatever they want to do then if we don't step in and say, okay, we need to see your footage, we need to talk about it, we need to see the direction it's going, and how can we support you.
So the very first assignment I give in any class that's gonna have critiques is it's called constructive criticism. Do you want that
Yes.
assignment? Because what it does
Yes,
is it takes the
please.
personal, it takes critique away from being personal to being about the objective of the assignment.
Right,
So,
I would love that. That would really
so
help.
I have it for you, if you want to
Yes.
take it with
Yes.
you to John Chidi and
Yes.
use it as an example. He may, he
Yes.
may modify it or whatever,
Yeah.
but that's,
Yeah. And we do share that, I would love that, because that would help me as well, but we do try to share a lot with them too, like, shooting in daylight, like all kinds of tutorials and whatever we can that we think they would benefit from, but are they using them? We don't know. But we realize not everybody is a know-it-all in that class, and there's some that I think lag behind because they're with all these other amazing, really, savvy students. So, but we see that, and we recognize that, and we talk about that. We have these discussions, and we know who to maybe go in and support more,
okay.
and encourage to like step outside of their boxes with a camera and stuff like that too. So we're trying to really be mindful of everybody in there and their different personalities, because they are different than YouthWorks, definitely, but they all have a confidence, so I definitely respect that. But it would be great, any tools I can have to continue learning how to approach students, because they're all different, definitely.
I'm gonna send a reminder to myself to do that.
And then, Lauren, the other thing is, have you had a chance to talk to them at all about the summer?
I have not, no, I've been solid in, other things, but I will talk to Naomi.
For the summer.
Tara and I, yeah,
Yeah.
Tara and I we were gonna meet after this class and talk
Oh,
to,
okay.
yeah.
I know they do some the Global Leader Net forums in the summer. They have students come and do retreats there. Because Youth Media Project used to go and record them for those events. And that's something that I will be working on coming up after the retreat this weekend. We're going to take some students, because they're going to be sharing stories. So we're going to take some of the students who want to share stories, and then I will be in charge of putting together like vignettes of these students, and it will be more my work than having students help me do it. It'll be more like for the college. So that's something that we're going to come out of this weekend is more audio stories as well as video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just sent a reminder to myself to get you that. Okay. All right. Any other feedback for Tara?
Good work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent work, Tara. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very good. Okay. Allie, did you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you'll have to share your screen with us. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. And okay.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I think.
Not yet.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And option one,
Yeah. Oh,
And one other thing, Lauren, is that I will be, Matt and I, he's going to help me, but I am talking to Naomi about doing something for Martin Luther King Day, as well as,
Excellent.
any of those holidays. I think
Okay.
if they can use us, we should be up there, and then maybe try to bring it here too. So
That
that
would
would
be
be something
great.
we can talk about.
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten.
Okay.
It's on my
You have
list.
my email.
So-
I have now.
Yes.
So, Allie, are you looking for something to put on the screen? Because all I see is like a, I don't know if I see your screen or not.
It's my business card open in InDesign.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so.
She's
It's not-
the Google share,
I
not
have,
the Google share, the Google Hangout screen share.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. She's screen sharing.
Right. I don't see anything.
But I don't know that we don't see anything yet, unless you haven't put anything up yet.
no, it's my business card though.
Okay, we don't see it
No.
here. No, we don't see it.
Do I click, let's see.
Ally is presenting to everyone, so maybe.
Okay, there.
Nope.
Okay, we still, for some reason, I'm not,
Okay, I'll just email it to you real quick,
it's
because that
weird.
seems like it might be.
Okay, very weird, because we should see it. Oh, now I see it. Now I see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
you see?
now I see your
Okay.
email.
Your
So
email.
so maybe your
Because-
window, maybe your Hangout window was in front or something. I don't know. Now I see
Okay,
it.
now, yeah, okay, do you see now?
Now we see it. Yes, okay.
Okay, so this one's a little hard to see in the preview window because it's like the same color. So I was gonna open up my InDesign. Can you guys see my InDesign now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where I'm having trouble. I have the name I kind of designated for myself as a cultural technology intern who teaches technology in cultural institutions, is just a cultural technology educator. And so I have that there. On the side I have my email and the link to my portfolio, my phone number, and the two institutions I work for. But the problem is I'm having, I don't have enough room in there to fit the entire name of the museum. And so I'm having a hard time figuring out how to lay that out so that it doesn't read as one institution, like the New Mexico State Library Museum of Natural History. That just doesn't. So if you guys have any feedback about that. Also, I don't know, I put the house because in previous ones that I've designed, I've used it as the address goes here, but I thought it might still work because it's the two institutions that I work for. I'm also having trouble coming up for a graphic to go in the circle. So this would be the, the back of the business card, and this would be the front, or vice versa. And so I'm still just coming up with, or having a hard time coming up with what kind of logo I want to represent myself, and then how to lay out the names of the institutions that I work for.
Ally,
Yeah,
which would be, can you, I'm just throwing something else. It would be to, maybe say State Library and Museum, you have a typo there, of Natural History, and then New Mexico as a third line spelled out.
okay,
Instead of saying NM State Library, just say State Library, because you don't have the full name of either one, because it's actually
right,
Mexico Museum of Natural and it's sort of abbreviated, which is, I think, fine, but this is hard. And then just put as a third line down below, New Mexico, so people know. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
actually,
I
that
like
does
that.
make sense.
Now, she put State Library and Museum of Natural History, right?
Oh, Tara's suggesting to put an and.
Yeah, and you could just do that nice and then there you go, right? I think that, I don't know.
Oh, well, so then I would try and put museum on the same line, Ally.
okay,
And then, because to me, that having an ampersand at the end looks weird.
Yeah,
And then,
I would put of natural history and then New Mexico underneath, right?
okay.
Put New Mexico first, before everything.
Wow.
Yeah, see, then that looks weird
That
to me,
looks
but
weird, yeah.
maybe,
I think New Mexico State
Yeah.
Library and
I don't
Museum
know
of
that you
Natural
need the
History.
and. I think it makes sense to me that if
Okay.
they're on two different lines, that they're two different things.
Okay,
I don't like having the ampersand at the end of the line. I think that looks weird.
Yeah, I think this looks good right here. Now,
Then maybe,
okay, and then,
yeah, do the spacing a little bit.
yeah, I'll have to switch this so that it's longer, so that it matches the rest of my,
right. Okay, so the next thing is a graphic to go inside the circle.
right.
So have you ever done anything with your name, like AB or anything with your initials?
So previously I did, and I took all of my old work from school off of my computer and put it on a hard drive, just so I have space for new stuff. So I don't have it to show because it's on my hard drive, but I previously had like, if you guys keep my arrow, I had like real scripty A that came across like this. On my first iteration of a business card when I was in portfolio class. And so I could do something like that again. I was just thinking more of, you know, more of an icon or a graphic that represented what I do. But that's, you know, that's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to think of. I mean, I thought of things with circuits. There's some really pretty, like logos of circuits and things like that. But I didn't know if that would, I mean, I guess educator's in the name, so I guess it still comes across if I had, you know, like a circuit or something, and then that's technology, so it shows, or, you know, or electricity, and so it shows that. But I was just worried about having, like, if I should have something that's more technology driven or more educator driven. I mean, it's not like I use like a paintbrush or anything, you know, in that sense, as far as like a teacher goes. So I don't know.
I feel like it's going to be hard to illustrate cultural technology educator.
Right.
I feel like, you know, yeah, you could do a circuit board inside that circle, and that might be fine, but that only then speaks to the technology part and not the cultural part. So,
So maybe I should just stick with a logo.
I don't know. I mean, the other option would be like a book, you know, a book binding with a circuit on it, or like I don't know, some sort of image with a circuit, you know, embedded in it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I tend to feel like it doesn't have to be so literal, and I tend to feel like it could be just like your, you know, the logo that you've made for yourself in the past, which is, I think, it's just it's just an A, right? Or is it an AB? I can't remember. Yeah. I don't know. That's my kind of inclination. Now, if you wanted to incorporate a circuit board, you could do it in the gray behind the circle.
That would be kind of cool, like a little circuit.
Yeah, behind the gray, right? I mean,
Or
like a lower opacity in the gray, and then like something else in the circle.
And so then my other question too, I don't know if the gray is, like, I would like to have a pop of color in it, but I'm having a hard time picking a color because I didn't want to do orange because that's associated with the parachute factory, and so something separate. And then my favorite color is teal. Everything I do is teal or turquoise, and so I thought about that, but that's kind of the color of the logo of the state library. And then, you know, I'm not a big fan of reds and blues. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe a green or a purple, just something that's not related to any one specific organization.
let me try.
But I didn't know if I should do that or if just the gray was fine or if it was too dull.
I don't know. I like that kind of tone, the black and white gray thing. I think that's great. But I don't know. I would, for you and your personality, I would try purple or the green, but I wouldn't even go more purple. I just think that would pop out, and that would just be actually kind of a cool card with purple.
Okay.
Also,
You're very
if
colorful.
you Google images for a museum icon, you'll see little icons that are a lot like your house, but they have 4 columns typically.
Okay.
Sometimes more as a way to make it a museum, you know, icon versus some, you know, house.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some-
I was thinking that too. A
Yeah.
building, just a building
That's a good
icon
idea.
with a bunch of windows, you know, but a little more institutional, because those are, institution kind of places, not homes. Unless you-
Okay.
But it looks really good though, that changes that you have made, Ally. It made a big difference, just putting New Mexico on the bottom.
Okay, thanks. So I will continue to work on it, and I will have it ready for, the next time we present is the final, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'll have it ready by the time then, and I'll work on those changes that everybody talked about.
Okay. I think it's coming along. I feel like I like the split, the kind of like yin-yang split that's happening right down the center. And the circle in a way almost speaks to that. So I don't know if there's a way to like split the
I like the
circle in
circle.
some way.
Well, that would be kind of cool.
Splitting with the way that you split the card, split the circle, to indicate, I don't know, kind of the kind of two different things you're merging, cultural and technology and education, which is actually a third thing. So I don't know. I would play around a little bit with the pattern you've already established with breaking the business card into two sections.
Okay.
You could play around with that a little bit in your circle. Can I see the front of it one more time?
I like the circle actually. She needs to do much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, what Tara's saying, I don't know if you heard, is that she likes the circle just as it is. Maybe you don't need to do anything to it.
See, it kind of feels like that on the front, but then I feel like, or the back, or whatever, which side it's which. But then on this one, I don't know if it,
I think it works
Those
because
look
it's the
more-
opposite of what you have in the front, so it does work. But if you could put something really cool in there, it'd be cool if you could do like a little 3D kind of like circuit that makes people want to press it or something, like hands-on, but it would just be an image.
why can't I move this page? There we go.
Side by side, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so maybe adding some purple, possibly playing with some logos, changing the house to a museum, and possibly breaking the circle, I don't know if I said that, and then maybe doing something back here in low opacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I will play with this, I just wrote it all down.
And the other thing is, as you guys are all working on these, post them to the Facebook page so we can all continue to give feedback. I think it's a really important use of the Facebook page is that we communicate with each other and share our ideas and work with each other on developing the ideas. So as you're doing it, Ally, post it to the Facebook page. And same so far, Tara.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Tara's idea of, doing something like a button, like, I don't know what, but like maybe the play, with a little like play arrow in there or something,
Mhm.
And I thought about like a simple schematic, because like a simple schematic is just like the being like a circuit. But then I don't really, I mean, I teach circuitry, but I don't really use the schematics in what I do because I don't dabble that much into like Arduino and all that kind of stuff. So then I didn't really know if it represented me, but it's similar to like what Mimi was talking about, because of the shapes of the schematic. But I think it's kind of cool too, because it's like, it's a different way to do, which is kind of, we make education fun for kids. And, and it's kind of a type of play. So, I don't know.
I like the idea of the play button. I think that's actually pretty smart because
make it a bouncing ball.
yeah.
You know how you keep the little things for a bouncing ball?
or something you could even conceivably see in a museum.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Burn like a little shadow underneath it.
Okay.
Put streaks on it so it looks like it's bouncing.
Looks good though, Ally, I like it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's coming along, it really is. So Ally, why don't you give us an update on what you've been doing and how things are going for you, and what if there's any things that you might need guidance or advice on, or how, however it's going. I know you've got a few, you're juggling quite a few hats, so you're wearing quite a few hats, juggling quite a few balls, so kind of talk about that.
Yeah. That's kind of the hardest is that my intern split in three parts. The first part is the museum. The second part is working for the library, and within working for the library, I'm working with Memories of Migration to do community, how would you say it, Mimi?
Well, they call it memory gathering is the word they use.
Memory gathering. So yeah, memory gathering events within a library. And so I'm having, not a difficult time. It's just an adjustment to kind of switch my brain around to what it is that I need to be focusing on, and actually focusing on what is at hand. The other hard part is that at the museum, I have several different roles. I'm not just doing the workshops and prepping for the workshops, but I'm also helping to build, create, and design a traveling exhibit for the museum. And I'm also working on helping them create a database for their curriculum and researching different kinds of STEM technology that would go into a STEM classroom. And so it's kind of hard to focus. So far, I've pretty much just been focusing on my workshops that are right in front of me and prepping for the workshops and then administering the workshops and then moving on to the next one. And then I'm also attending meetings and helping them with their exhibit. And I'm preparing to go to a conference for them as well. And so I haven't had a lot of time to get into the research on the STEM stuff for the classroom and the database. I haven't really gotten to all that stuff yet, although I don't think that kind of stuff would take up that many of my hours. So I guess I can wait till the spring. It's just kind of a challenge to be, like I said, switching back and forth from not only being at this museum, but what specifically am I working on at the museum? And then, working for New Mexico State Library, and then what specifically am I doing that pertains to Memories of Migration, and how to document all of those hours or split, because sometimes, Miles and Mimi and I had a 3.5 hour meeting on coming up with our schedule for our tour dates. And so that's, what I did in that instance that was both for New Mexico State Library and Memories of Migration. So I took the time that it took for that entire meeting and split it in half. And said, marked half my hours to New Mexico State Library and half my hours to Memories, because it was really, it was for both. And so I've come up with a few strategies like that to help me. But yeah, it's just hard to stay organized and keep track of everything. So that's the biggest challenge I'm sort of facing right now. Making sure that, and then the other thing too that's hard is that I have a certain amount of hours I have to meet for each one, and they're different hours. I believe it's the same for library and for Memories, but it's twice that for the museum. So I have to be strategic in what hours I put where, and making sure that once we go traveling for the library, that I have enough hours to be dedicated towards that for traveling, and that I'm not also falling behind on my hours at the museum. So it's kind of hard, instead of just saying like, oh, I need to work 30 hours a week at this one institution, it's splitting my hours between 3 institutions, and then also my workload is heavier in the spring for the New Mexico State Library. So that's all been.
That's a huge challenge, Ally, and I feel like the way you've been handling it is actually pretty great in terms of your organizational skills. You sent me the Google Calendar with all of your trips mapped out, and when I look at your timesheets, you're pretty detailed about how you're spending your time and logging your hours. So I feel like you might need to do some sort of calendar that color codes each particular place so that you are sure you get double the amount of hours at the museum, and then of course split that with Memories of Migration, New Mexico State Library, so you have maybe three separate colors for each institution that you're working for, so that your hours can be tracked a little more clearly. And you can do that on Google Calendar, right? With you can color code things, and you've done that with the travel so far.
Right, I did create a Google Doc that's similar to what we use for our time tracking through AmeriCorps or through Encore. But then I realized it might not be detailed enough. What it is kind of just the pay period or the 2 that we're turning in. It's like the date from this week to this week. And then it's how many hours did I work for this institution, how many hours did I work for this institution. Because when I mark my hours on the time tracking for AmeriCorps, it'll just say like 8 hours today. And then I have to go in and say 2 of those hours for memories, 2 of those hours were for this. So I created my own Google Doc that kind of has that, and then says my total hours for the week. And then I broke it down underneath that so that I have like a bar that says, this is how many hours I need to complete for memories, this is how many hours I need to complete for that. So that way I can kind of look at it and say, okay, I've done a third of my hours for this and half of my hours for that. So I need to change my hours to do. But I was thinking I might need to create yet another doc that kind of breaks it down into mostly for memories, is what things am I doing for each of these during that time period, and what hours am I working on what days.
But aren't you doing that already when you say you did 2 hours for this and 2 hours for that? I mean, doesn't that encompass?
Yeah, but I think and we have to mark our hours for memories, very specific. And so I didn't know if maybe I needed something that said, okay, not just that I worked 2 hours on this date, but I worked from 8 to 10, and this is what I worked on.
Well,
so I didn't know if I could get that detail or not.
Why don't you just do that on Trello?
Okay.
Yeah, just do that on Trello where it's already being, where we report in on what we've been working on.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you don't have to duplicate that.
Okay, that makes sense. I can do that. That definitely works.
And Matt, actually, you're going to be in a similar situation, so
I am.
maybe you've got some ideas for Allie.
Pretty much everything she said so far. The calendar is a new idea to me to help keep track of your future working. I'm not really using a calendar right now because me and Doug have scheduled time during the week to which projects I want to work on. I only have to work with M&MP for 5 hours out of that week, and then the rest of the week can go to whatever other project we're working on. Right now I'm working on Mosca, so I'm just concentrating on that. So right now it's split between M&MP and the Mosca project. So I have five projects scheduled, but right now I'm only working on 2 of them at a time. But a spreadsheet is probably one of the other things that is really a good idea, so that way you can have a second place to keep track of your hours, and maybe you can have it add up your hours for each of the libraries, and so you will have a running total of all the hours that you have like right now, and keep a current list of hours.
Yeah. And then, you should have seen it was insane. So Miles and I spent all this time coming up with the calendar that for our workshops around the state. And then I had to, by yesterday, I had to have my workshops for the museum, so that for the spring, so that they could put it in this next version of the Voices of Science, which is our pamphlet that talks about what's going on at the museum. And now for this term, I was doing my workshops every 2 weeks, and to try to do that next spring is not not only is it not possible because we've already started booking dates for the library that conflict with that, but also I think to be doing workshops once, to be traveling out on trips and doing workshops several times a month for the library, it would be too difficult to do 2 a month at the museum. I'm already in a situation now where I leave for my first conference on Friday, this Friday, I get back on Sunday, and then we leave for NMAM on Wednesday, get back on Friday, and then I've got a workshop I have here on Saturday. And I just finished a workshop this Saturday. So I literally have to prep for 2 conferences and a workshop. And so I think it would be too difficult to be doing, twice a month. So I just decided to go with 1 a month for the spring. But I have a certain pattern of where to put them in, like the first month, the first weekend of the month, or the last weekend of the month, or, there was no pattern. So it's been crazy trying to manage my schedule between the two. I'm taking care of my spring schedule now, because then I will know in the spring what hours are dedicated to where, and I won't be in a position where I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about this. How am I gonna make my hours for that if I'm over here doing this? So it's been a challenge, but I'm glad I'm dealing with it now. That way, if something's not gonna work out, I have the time to make arrangements for that.
Yeah, and it's got to be in a kind of predictable pattern, right? Because because it has to go on the schedule for the museum.
Right.
Okay.
And then also the thing too is I have to make sure that whenever I schedule my workshops for the museum, that I have doing stuff for the library. I mean, I do stuff for the library every week, little things, but I'm not traveling for the library for my workshop. So that Monday through Friday shop, because otherwise I'm not going to have enough time to prep my workshop and the space for my workshop. So I had to also find places in my schedule where I wasn't traveling for a full week before a Saturday, so yeah, but I think I've kind of, come up with a bit of a pattern, and luckily luckily the museum's super flexible about when I have my workshops, and so that was pretty helpful.
Do you have help for your workshops?
So right now I have Bresden is using some of Jonathan and Mary approved for her to help me with my workshops for 3 hours on the weekend. So I do a 3-hour workshop, so as long as I can prep it by myself and clean it up by myself, Bresden's there to help me with my workshop at the museum. And we possibly maybe her helping with some of the stuff with the New Mexico State Library. I think we're still trying to figure all that out, whether we want that or whether that's doable. And then also, when Claudio has time, he's been volunteering at the museum during my workshop hours.
Okay.
So I think that's it. It really, and I talked about this a little bit last night in my presentation for your class, is that my boss is very, well, between the people that oversee what I do, the people that are my mentors, are Mimi, Miles, and Deb at the museum. And all of them kind of have, the type of outlook that you are an adult. I mean, other than the, regular week staff check-ins that I'm expected to be at, it's kind of like, you're an adult, you need to work your hours when you can, or, what you need to do. You figure out what you need to do. It's not like if anybody's like, you need time from Monday through Friday or anything like, and so it's nice to have that flexibility. It's also a challenge to make sure that I'm staying on task and I'm doing what I need to do and I'm using my time appropriately. But it's been different because I'm used to kind of with, and I check in with Miles a lot about what I'm doing, and that's helpful. But Deb is not as receptive to that as, Miles is, or as Mariano in the past. She's kind of, I feel like I'm sort of bothering her when I stop by her office to check in and say, okay, this is what I worked on, or this is what I'm working on. And especially because I was sick the last week, I've been checking in with her a lot. And so, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it kind of bothers her, but for me, I like to feel sure in what I'm doing and making sure that I'm using my time the best way and checking in with my mentor to make sure that I'm doing what they want me to do. And, you know, so I do appreciate the responsibility of being able to do it myself, but sometimes I also kind of look for more feedback from her.
Okay.
And so that's also been a sort of a struggle on, you know, like I'll go in to meet with her and she's like, oh, I'll just be checking my emails while you're talking. And I'm like, okay, okay, you know?
Yeah, okay, so I feel like that's actually an important kind of point of intervention for me. Mimi, what do you think about that? Like, I feel like that's something I actually need to talk to her about. Because she is your mentor. I mean, she's not your boss, she's your mentor.
Yeah, and she does talk to me. I mean, when I stop in and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be doing this, or, you know, whatever, and, you know, she does, it's not like she, like, totally blows me off or anything, and she does talk to, it's fine, you know, do whatever you gotta do, but sometimes it's too much of do whatever you gotta do, you're an adult, you make your own schedule, you know, and it's kind of like, okay, but I don't, at the same time, I feel like if I did do something wrong or I did disappoint her or I wasn't, you know, that I don't know if she would communicate that to me or if she would just be like frustrated with me and not actually say anything. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, you know. So then I feel insecure because I'm constantly checking in with her to make sure that what I'm doing is right.
So here's
You
what
know,
I
and
think, yeah, so I think you guys should set up like a weekly check-in time.
Okay. Because
And
we switched for our education staff meetings, but it's the education department for the whole museum, so there's about 6 of us.
No, a
And
time for
to
you.
tell you the yeah, okay, because to tell you the truth, I don't have much to say in those meetings because what I do is so different from the rest of the education department does. And they spend so much time talking about things that I don't even know what the heck they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just sitting, yeah, it might be nice if I could meet with her and be like, what, you know, what specifically do you need from me? Or what, you know, should I, you know.
well, I think a couple of things. One is a weekly check-in is kind of standard for most of the mentors, right, Lauren?
Yeah.
Most of them, you know, have a time where they, that's really dedicated and they're not checking their email that's, you know, just too disconcerting for the other person who's talking. So I think that's one thing where Lauren could step in and say that, especially in the beginning, like until you know her better and can kind of have the self-confidence that you know what's expected of you and whatever. In the beginning, it's like that you need more feedback on a more ongoing basis, and then with but Lauren can explain to her, you know, over time you will, you know, you'll get to know her better and you'll get confidence that you know what it is that her expectations are, her standards, whatever. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah, it does. And then, oh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, well, Ally, this will be a continuing conversation, because I'll check in with Deb, and I'll talk a little bit about this, and suggest that the two of you have a weekly check-in.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because what I can say is that when I did my origami workshop, I spent like hours and hours and hours and hours of research and prototyping, and then I just kind of felt like maybe I spent too much time doing that, you know, or see, I don't really know what her expectations are. I don't know if she's expecting me to come in with workshops I already know how to do and not spend as much time prep. Like I did this weekend with the workshop I've done 100 times, so I didn't really need prep time. But for the origami, I had weeks worth of prep, and so I don't really know what her expectation is. Like, did I spend too much time working on that? Would she rather have me do something else? Is that
Right.
okay?
So that's why a weekly check-in is good, because you can ask those questions, and it's not just on the fly when she might be doing something else. So I think that might be a solution, but I'll talk to her and we'll work something out.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Very good. Okay. I'm glad, thanks for letting me know that, because it's really important that we know now, so we can have that conversation.
Okay.
Great. Okay, who wants to go next? Allie, you can stop sharing your screen, and then whoever goes next on this end will share the screen from this end, okay?
How do I stop?
So go to the left-hand side of your screen, and that little icon with the green screen and the arrow will come up. And
Right.
it should say stop screen share.
It doesn't have that option. It looks like I already stopped it.
No,
Are
you're
you
still
still seeing
sharing
it?
it. Yeah. So scroll your arrow to the left side of your screen so that it pops out.
Right.
Okay, you did that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, maybe it already stopped. Okay. All right, that's fine. All right, okay, who wants to go next? Natasha, Matt, Jake and Chris?
I'll go next.
Okay, well, you and Chris are together, so you've just volunteered Chris,
Okay.
too. All right. I mean, you're individually on your business cards, but you're together on your reporting map. Okay. So you know how to share
I
the
put
screen?
my business card on the cultural page.
So go ahead, okay. On the AmeriCorps page? Great, so go ahead. I'll be right back. Just need to check in with Dre on something.
How do you share your page?
Oh.
I have no idea. Hey Matt,
Go to the Google Hangout,
which is where?
which is on Google browser. Or is it there? I think you are. Yeah, that one. And then there's that button right there.
This one?
Screen share. And desktop.
Start screen share. Hold on. Sorry. No. This one. Okay. Cool. Alright, guess I'll wait for a line.
I like it so far.
Oh, it was just
Pretty good.
it was just a quick little mock-up.
I love the
I do
3D
have-
glasses, that's so you.
I do have another business card idea, but this is gonna take a lot more thought.
Yeah.
I would really love to come up with like a stereogram business card.
I think ideas, I'm like, I'm just gonna do a black and white now. Which I love your idea about black and white, but this is really good.
Okay.
And so I threw this together. You know, as most of you know, I'm really into the whole 3D thing. I love my 3D photography, 3D video. Then I'm a video guy, so you have a film reel there. I color matched the colors in the glasses to match the text of what I do. Then I popped out the text. I came up with a little placeholder name for like a kind of like a freelance business and like going, I guess. And then contact information. I do have another idea for a business card later on down the line, but I don't know how to go about doing this. The other one I have is I want to try to make a stereogram business card. And what I mean by that is you have the two sides here, and then you cross your eyes to look at it, and you can read it. Like it would be perfectly, you can see everything, but then when you uncross your thing, it's just a jumbled mess. But that's how I eventually want to do it. So when I did this together, I like the design.
So there's a continuity here with Ally's with splitting the card
Yes.
in half. That's kind of interesting. Is this just the front?
Yes,
So-
this is just the front.
so
I
there
don't
would be
have the
no-
back yet.
Okay, I'm gonna make a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
I really like the 3D glasses on there. I think that's funny and good.
Okay.
The papyrus font you should not use.
Okay.
You should use something more standardized and accessible.
Okay.
Papyrus is something that has been overused in a way that makes it not a great font choice for
Okay.
business cards. So
Okay.
I would not use papyrus. If you want a sans serif font, you might think about I don't know. Let me think what would be. I mean, you might do like, Century Gothic or something, right? Like something that's a little more.
Okay.
If you like the rounded look, I'm thinking of if you like the rounded look,
Yeah.
try Century Gothic,
Okay.
and see what that looks like.
Okay.
Again, we're dealing with the red text on the black background, and that's something that feels a little problematic to me in terms of accessibility, in terms of being able
Okay.
to see it without it vibrating.
Okay.
So I would think about how you want to handle that. But if you want to pull from the red and the blue, you might think about changing the background on the
Yeah.
other side to maybe a charcoal gray or something other than a jet black.
Okay.
Is this your website on the bottom?
Currently, yes. I can't get to it at the school because for some reason they blocked Wix here. But that is my old portfolio at the moment. Since I'm taking the introduction to HTML and CSS, I'm coding my own portfolio right
Okay.
now. So that's a work in progress.
And I just say that because I see a lot of times through Facebook too, when people post their website and they still have Wix on it. I think after graduating from college, we should be .com. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have Wix on your websites. It should be time to
That-
own it.
That's why I'm
because it's
coding my own
your-
right
yeah.
now. So.
Which is great, yeah, because it just bothers me when I see Wix on people's websites. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, it's worth, that's another like the investment thing with business cards. It's
Yep.
worth being that more professional when you
Yep.
send out your work,
Mhm.
so. Good.
But, yeah,
For
so
you.
that's one of the reasons I was taking the classes just so I can code my own portfolio. So. But,
And if you do specialize in 3D, I would put that on there too under videography, like 3D, because that's, I think that's important for your clientele to know that this is what you do, other than just the glasses, that you actually specialize in 3D. You have years of experience in portfolio to back that up
Yeah.
and work to show.
yeah, because
that
on
would
my
be
portfolio I
something-
do have a couple 3D
Yeah.
videos on there and
Yeah.
3D photography.
Yeah, I would
portfolios.
play it up then if that's if you can go with the glasses, play up your experience with some of the text too there.
Okay. Sounds good. Question, throw yours out there.
So Jake, keep posting iterations of this,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Because I think this is going to be a great forum, the Facebook page will be a great forum for us to work through these designs together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you something by this weekend. I mean, I
No,
already.
just put it, just
Okay, I mean
post
on
it.
this, yeah, I'll put something up
Yeah.
like soon, probably tomorrow, because I'll be all a little obsessive about it and I'll let it go home.
Okay. We have another, look.
Well, no,
this
that
is
was it. It's
cool.
like sometimes you have to hear it, so this is why this is good, I want to say.
Okay. So again, we have the kind of 50% split, but this time it's a diagonal.
Yeah, not much to say. I didn't really want to put a graphic on it because I didn't really know, so I just kind of made the shapes kind of bevel to give it a little bit of dimension and just the
Okay.
information.
So what do you guys think about this?
Interesting use of of the beveling to separate the two sides.
What does the bevel symbolize? Does it symbolize anything? Or is it just for kind of a decoration? Just for decoration?
You know what would be neat, just an idea on the top of my head, is like the way that that looks. It looks like the black extends, whereas the blue is covering something. So maybe you can make it in a way where you have one front, one back, and the black pulls out to reveal some more information or something.
That's a really interesting idea. So in other words, the business card in print would actually be black, and this would be a little sleeve that goes over it.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting idea.
It just kind of looked,
Yeah.
it looked that way.
I really like what Jake said. I think that's a good idea.
What other information would you add in there?
I mean, it could just be that like the blue part is like a sleeve that the card fits into, and it doesn't need to have anything on it.
Right.
The color, or he could create a logo for himself, or have one of the design students help create a logo for him, just something simple, and have that up there. And then
Yeah.
keep his information located where it's located on the business card that slides in.
I
If
agree.
she means
Yeah,
to put
I
all
like
that down there, just
Yep.
put a nice CK.
Yep.
I mean, we know Calvin Klein, but you could do your own.
Yeah.
But I do, and I totally agree. And make it big and bold, you know, and then you have this information. And I would even go with your Tumblr site a little bit bigger than the other font too, because this is what you want people to go check out, right? You want them to check out your work, right? That's what we're
Or
doing.
change the typeface of your email and your phone number
There you
to
go.
a thinner
Yeah,
typeface,
good.
so
There
you
you go.
can have
Nice.
hierarchy with your Tumblr.
Yeah,
Good
so it's
idea.
hierarchy,
Yeah,
yes, that's
a
it.
good idea.
Yeah, it's
And then your videographer, editor can come down here, everything could be here, but I like that. You could even just put film, you know, and then when they go to your site, you see you do your videographer, your editor, you do all this work. But,
I like videographer editor though.
Okay,
Yeah, I
alright.
do. I feel like it's a nice, it's specific in a
Yeah,
way
okay.
that's,
you know his work.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
agree.
nice.
You know what
Okay.
it does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like that. I think it goes
Uh,
drop down.
On Tumblr, I think there isn't an E.
Yeah, and there's not a D.
On Tumblr, there's not a D. That is correct. Thank you.
Good.
Good
I
catch.
use Tumblr, but I'm like, that doesn't look great.
But
You're right.
yeah, but it is, there's
Good
not
call.
a D, I know.
The social media expert in the group has spoken up.
Her eye is like, oh, that's not right. Something's wrong with that. Cool.
Yeah, so play with that. I think that's actually a really kind of wonderful idea to make that a sleeve and have the back part of the black part of the card contain all your information.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right. Okay, so you guys, how's it going up there in Los Alamos with the Cold War?
Well, so far we haven't done much. We went up to Los Alamos last Friday for our first meeting with Amy, and that went well. She explained the project and explained what they're looking for. She gave us a list of people to contact, roughly around 18 people. She gave us a preliminary list of questions that she wants us to ask,
Okay.
which is nice because I originally thought that we would have to come up with all the questions ourselves and all that. So that's nice. Chris and I, last week, we spent some time calling some people. We have 2 people scheduled for this Friday, one in the morning at 10 and then another one in the afternoon in Santa Fe at 3:30. We did try calling one gentleman, but according to Chris, we were only able to reach his wife, who told him about the project and he didn't want anything to do with it.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean,
And
they can decide not to do it.
It was actually really neat because last Thursday when I went to like the media arts tea thing over there, Nicholas, I got into a little conversation with him, and he was saying how his grandmother was a kid up in Los Alamos back in the late 40s or early 50s, and he gave me her contact information, so I have
Great.
another contact with him. And it's neat because the book that Amy has Chris and I reading, his grandmother actually has a couple of comments in that book. Because I saw her name mentioned a couple times in that book. I thought that was really neat.
That's
So,
really cool.
yeah. So as far as like the progress is going, we have a couple interviews scheduled for this week, and then I believe not for the next couple of weeks because
Yeah, I'm going next week.
This
Week
week
after
on.
that's Thanksgiving, and
Right.
then probably 1st of December we'll try to get some more
Yeah.
scheduled.
so we'll get 2 shot this week and get those edited by next week, and then get those finished videos up to Los Alamos the beginning of December when we go back up there to shoot some more.
Mimi, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say about Nick's grandmother, she's actually sometimes known as the unofficial historian, not of the Cold War, but of the Manhattan Project. Her dad was like 3rd
Yeah.
down from Oppenheimer.
Oh wow.
And-
Okay.
His last name was Wilder, I think, if you look him up.
Yeah.
And so she is just a font of information. She's also a friend of mine, which is why I know all this. And
Yeah.
you know, is sort of one of the leading authorities on it. So she's also a great raconteur and has great stories about growing up in Los Alamos.
Yeah. When I was talking to Nick the other night, he said that she's always doing presentations about it and all this good stuff. So he recommended that I contact her.
Organized symposia. She does tours for like Smithsonian Museum tour groups and stuff like that. So she's a very recognized authority, but she also has from this, not just having studied it, but having actually grown up in it.
Yeah.
And she has great stories once you get her going. Actually, the first year that her dad was there was no housing for anybody, and
Yep.
so they lived in a tent and bandolier, and she can tell you about that too.
Oh wow.
The family-
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah, but that's super pretty old, you know, it's Manhattan Project stuff, but still very, very interesting. And I don't know if anybody's ever done an oral history of her before. She's done them on other people. But,
Okay. So.
yeah,
She
so
should totally
she'll
be
be
on. She should totally be on board for this then. Okay. I actually have a quick question. How do you pronounce her last name? Is it Reid or Reed?
Reed.
Okay, thank you. just for when I call her, that way I don't mispronounce her name.
Yeah, and the reason she had Bradbury is because she married, the second director of the lab was named Norris Bradbury, and
Yep.
she married Norris's son, and then they divorced, you know,
Oh,
a
wow.
long time ago. But so she's actually like got, you know, Los Alamos pedigree.
All right. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is cool.
Chris, you want to add?
No, not really.
How do you guys feel about getting all these 18 interviews done and edited by the time? Feel okay about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The editing is not gonna be much.
We're the editing. We'll get that done before we like. The way we have it planned is we'll go up there on a Friday, get the shots, either spend the weekend or the beginning of next week to get those edited, schedule some more interviews, go back up there, dump them on a hard drive, record, rinse, repeat.
Okay, so you guys have you have it,
Yep, we have a plan.
you have a plan that you're gonna edit as you go along?
Yep.
That's smart.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
Are they gonna give you feedback on the editing? Are you gonna have to re-edit? Is there any kind of discussion about that, or is it
that,
just?
well, the editing as a whole is not going to be that big of a problem because they're wanting the same thing that we turned into like the New Mexico History Museum over the summer. They just want the raw interview. So like the most we'd have to do is go in and clean up the audio a little bit and put like a title card and an end card in that.
So your end product is not something that can be posted online in a format that they
No,
approve. Your
this
end
is
product is the
strict.
raw footage,
Yep,
just stripped of any technical issues.
yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's basically,
You don't have to
my
edit.
last.
They just want the raw interviews as part of a collection, and then also to revert back to when they're redoing their exhibit.
Okay, so there could be in the future a way to make these, exhibit ready, but this, I mean, raw interview, that's like an hour of footage, right? I mean, it's not gonna be like, they're not gonna be able to use that, but they know that. They're not gonna put like an hour long, they're not gonna put an hour of an interview.
No.
Yeah.
This is just
They just want the information.
footage.
It's just it's an
For
archive.
one, to be a collection, for two, just to pull stuff from when they're redoing their exhibit.
Great. All right, well, that does make it a lot easier for you guys.
Yeah,
I was concerned about the editing process and that
No,
taking a lot of
that's,
time.
that I'm imagining maybe like 2, maybe 3 hours per video.
Okay,
Just
so then
for
I'm gonna
sound.
reverse my question.
Okay.
Are you gonna be able to get all your hours in?
We'll see.
I'm not imagining that we'll have that much of a problem as far as hours are concerned.
You think
because
this will be 300 hours each?
Well, it depends, because right now we do have 18 interviews, but one person didn't want to do it, another person died. So,
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
so
out of
those
the
two are
18,
Now you're
it might,
16.
yeah, it might, and there
Well,
might
you
be
added
more
one.
people.
Yeah.
But there might be more people who
And
want to
then
do it. There's,
that's why, like, during the interview, we can ask them, see if they recommend any other people that we get in contact with, or stuff like that. And then it would be like, when we were talking to Amy, she wants to film like every Friday, or roughly. So it's like you drive up there, you do 2 interviews. That's almost like a 10-hour day
Yeah,
right there by
okay.
itself, plus class time, plus the service days, plus the time for editing. I think we should be fine.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, I just kind of curious because I didn't realize that the editing was not really going to be editing, just.
Because that's where all the hours come in, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right, that's really, okay, all right, very good. How do you get along with, communicate with, how's everything going with your supervisors up there? Your supervisor?
Great. They're
Great.
both excited to get started on this,
Okay.
and yeah, no, we ran into no problems in the meeting. It all went very smoothly, and
Great.
so
Okay.
it's looking like it's going to be a good internship.
Great, all right, excellent, thank you. Very good.
quick question.
Yes,
For the, I know you said you wanted us to have the business cards for next week, and is there a place to get them printed, or
yes, for NMAM.
for me and Natasha?
Yeah, for you and Natasha, if you are gonna do this kind of complicated sleeve,
Yeah, that might be something.
that's
further down the
something maybe
line.
further down the road, right?
Right.
If you wanna keep this for NMAM, I think that'd be perfectly fine.
Okay.
And as far as printing here in Las Vegas,
Probably better off going online.
I would actually go to Alpha Graphics in Santa Fe if you could.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Alpha Graphics?
You,
Yeah.
and you could also, overnight prints isn't bad. I've done a bunch
For
of
your
stuff through
business
them,
cards?
and I mean, it would be something temporary, you might wanna go more high quality eventually, but just for, like 25 business cards or something, overnight print isn't bad.
Okay,
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
check them out
and
as
tons
well.
of printers and.
I think this is really good to share, just what we're sharing
Yeah.
right now, because she's done all the research.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Alpha Graphics
Yeah,
it is.
Alpha
because-
Graphics in Santa Fe
So
is a
this
good
is
one.
really good that we brought that up, thank you,
Okay.
because I'm gonna write that down.
Alpha Graphics in Santa Fe,
See
or
what I mean?
overnight prints, as Ally was saying, it's not
Okay,
bad.
or overnight print.
So Chris, just correct that Tumblr for NMAM,
You just send it to
Okay.
them.
And,
Yeah,
and you can
you have
go
to set up
ahead
your
and print.
files a
Okay,
certain way.
great.
Okay.
She was telling me about having so much, like an 1/8 inch of open space or
Okay.
whatever, and it crop marks.
Okay. Okay, Matt, Natasha, who's next? Natasha!
Okay,
All right.
so that's one side of my business card, and then that's the other side.
They're little square business cards, or is the rest of it black?
No, it's a square.
Okay, nice.
Can I see the other side? I'm sorry. Oh, I like that a lot. I think the visual communications needs to be brighter, but it could be the screen. And maybe on your computer it is brighter, but it just
It could
seems a
be
little.
the typeface
Yeah,
too that
yeah.
it shows, because it has 6 to ends.
But I like your N and
It's a Y and then
a
it's an
Y.
R.
Ah, oh, it's a RY.
So it's NYR, it's for
NY.
my initials.
I see, NYR.
That was from an old
Oh, that's
assignment
cool.
that I just went in and I redid. And I originally just had the outline of it, but
Yeah,
it
I
kind of
like it.
like got lost in all the blue.
yeah,
So I was trying to figure out how to do it, and then I snapped, well, maybe put a shape in there and then reverse it
Yeah.
and have them have the ends touching the ends of the square, so it kind of like bleeds in and out. So that's what was my idea behind it. And then I was trying to figure out what to put underneath, and I was like, maybe just graphic design, but then I was like, I'm doing this internship about social media, so I know about social media, and then I'm doing web stuff, so I'm knowing about coding, and so I figured I need to just kind of do like a big umbrella
I
term
think
about what I could
if
do.
you, I think if you, well, maybe visual communication covers that, but I think, putting all that, graphic design, web design, and social media,
So I could put
is-
like all of it.
don't you think? Because then it just kind of like,
Well,
because
you have
people
a s-
hire people like you to do all their social media. I mean, it's a business, so I think you want people to know, yeah, I can do all your social media for you, I can do, but I don't know if that is under the umbrella of visual communications, or people might just see, hey, she does social media, great, I want to hire her, I don't know.
Okay.
Here's what I think too, because it's a square, the text, if you put social media, web, what is the other stuff? Okay,
Graphic design.
social
web,
media,
and then
graphic
I had
design.
photography too in there.
Photography, web. I'm just trying to think of how you could format the text to also align with the square rather than visual communications, which,
Well, like, should I like center align it in general, or should I like line it up with the white square and then start putting it down like a list or
that's,
something?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to, I'm trying to think if that's going to be too much text.
What if you did, say you did like visual, and then like pipe, and then graphic, and then pipe and social, and then communications with the kerning and whatnot spread out so that it fit with the whole thing. So you can hit all of those different points, and they're all types of communications.
Well, that's a
Visual,
nice idea.
graphic, and social.
Should I maybe like put visual, like leave it as it is, and then like in a smaller typeface or whatever, in a different typeface, put the graphic design and then like something to separate it, and then web separate it, photography separate it, social media. But it's smaller and directly underneath center line.
Yep,
Would that work?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I feel like you need more information. I feel like you need detailed information because what you're doing,
I was wondering about that, and I was trying to figure out spacing, and then I was like, well, maybe that'd be too much. Maybe I should just have a big umbrella term to describe it, but that would make sense too, to have it smaller and lighter and whatnot.
I think so. I feel like, you know, what you're doing is kind of what people want. And you should really be specific about your skills and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I didn't realize how much people want what you do, but they want it, and it helps them out businesses a lot. So if you're doing that, like, play it up, because that might be what catches their eye. And, oh yeah, she does this. This is exactly what I need. I need this person.
Okay.
More than having to filter what does visual communications mean.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was struggling with that, and then with fitting it appropriately within the space.
Yeah.
And is the back just going to be blank?
The back has my name,
Oh,
my
that's
email.
right. Oh,
and
that's
my
right. Okay.
number.
Are you on Twitter?
I am, but I don't have anything on there regarding what I do. I know
You
when you
should.
mentioned it earlier, I was like, Oh, Twitter, okay, I could do that.
You know,
I'm
and
getting
I
better at
had, I
Twitter.
think I did Twitter honestly for a seminar, we had to have all this stuff, and it was the AmeriCorps class that got me to reactivate it. And it does come in handy, I know it's one more thing, but if you're doing social media, you should
Yeah.
have everything coming
Yeah.
so they can see your work.
When you guys mentioned it earlier, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So yeah.
You should.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that's my business card.
What about considering a regular sized card, but just the blue box in the middle?
no.
She says, no way.
Oh, no. I don't like the standard business card thing, it bothers me. I was trying to come up with something different, so it's a little more unique.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like the square. I think the square is great.
Thank you.
I do too, because it's different,
Uh-huh.
and you know, it'll still be dimensional, I'm sure, and it's cool to have and stick in wallets and stuff, so I never thought of the square, I like that. Do you have a website?
I'm currently in Jake's class and I'm coding mine as well.
Okay. That would be really nice on there too.
Oh yeah,
To see your
it's,
website.
it's a nice working.
Excellent, excellent.
What did you do this summer for AmeriCorps? Didn't you do a, template?
I started a Behance
A Behance, right?
thing, but I never completed it because I'm still going through my old projects and fixing them.
All right, well, this is good for MM to have something, to have this to hand out. But people are gonna ask you for your website.
Yeah, they do.
So it's in the PDF in the meantime of my work, but it's a work in progress and I'm realizing how far that coding is. And I'm like getting a bigger hole with how many pages I gotta do and then the animation and whatnot. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. The website is a lot of work.
So,
It is. It's a lot of work.
that's a work in progress.
So then I'm gonna suggest you put up, for NM, you put up you add your Twitter
Okay.
handle to that and start posting some of the stuff that you're gonna put on your website onto your Twitter.
Okay. No problem.
So that you can, when people ask you that they wanna see your work, you can say, you can look at my Twitter feed, I'm in the process of building my website.
Okay. Yeah, that works. That works for me.
Allie, Mimi, do you guys have any feedback for Natasha?
I like it. I like that it's a square. I think that she's right. I think that, especially from a design background, you start to get tired of seeing the same kind of business card every time. And for designers, I think sometimes it's important to show, kind of like how Gabe Garcia, if you're a designer, don't use a standard resume. Design your own resume so that you can show your skills as a designer within your resume before they even look at your portfolio. And I think that I agree with that as business cards as well. You want to show your ability as a designer in the minimal space that you have for a square, for a business card. So I like the fact that she did a square and did something that was unique and stands out, because then, people are gonna remember that when they see her business card. So I'm all for the unique shapes.
Yeah.
I agree with,
Okay. All right. Okay, so now, Natasha, I want to hear a little bit about what's happening at the press, what you're doing, how's it going?
It's going so and so. Like it's kind of weird because I went from being there every single day in the summer to going maybe once a week now
Okay.
because of school stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I don't have that communication or interaction
Oh,
I
that's
feel like I
interesting.
need.
Okay.
Because some weeks, like, she'll contact me nonstop about stuff that I'm doing, and then other weeks it's kind of dead. And then, like, now I'm not doing any specific thing for her. It's just me updating the Facebook and the Twitter, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. So it's kind of like fallen into like a lull.
So it's plateaued a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know. And then when I'm there, it's just kind of me on the computer all day and her on her computer and her doing her own thing and I'm doing my own thing.
So it's not as much mentorship as it was.
And
But then again, you don't need as much mentorship
Yes.
because you're doing the same
yeah,
thing.
yes,
Okay.
but it's kind of solid.
So maybe you want a little bit more of a challenge?
Yeah, maybe. Like, I know I recently just got done doing her holiday announcement sale that they're
Mhm.
having on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I got excited and I was doing different drafts and different layouts. And this one that I was really into, I played with the type and the placement and everything. And she goes, well, that's good for your portfolio, but Anna wants that. I'm like, all right, that's fine with me. But after that, there's no other specific project. And I know she mentioned last week about how they were doing little advertisement things on the Rail Runner for the Bottoligos book that they have recently come out with. And I was like, yeah, I'll get it started on it. She goes, oh no, we're just gonna use the book cover. Oh, okay.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah.
So I mean, you may naturally have kind of reached a place where, you know, unless they have another role for you to add on to what you're doing, like maybe you've naturally reached a place where it's time to think about something else. And you're finishing I know you're finishing your internship in December. So, you know, you could start to think about what you want next, or if you're staying here, are you staying here or are you going back to Washington?
The plan is to go back to Washington.
Okay, so you're actually leaving in January.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the
Okay.
plan. But
And we might be able to dissuade you from that if we found you something really cool here. Okay.
yeah.
Mimi, do you hear that? Okay. All right. So, all right. But interesting to know about you know, the kind of plateauing, and that does happen when it's maybe time to think about something different, or you know, maybe you know, there needs to be kind of an amping up in some way of what they want from an intern. But you've certainly done an incredible job there.
Thank you.
And I know that they've been really happy with you. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, Matt, you've waited as long as you possibly can.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna refresh the webpage here.
Okay. I hear corgis.
I thought it was his card barking. I thought, how cool, his card barks.
Ooh, card bark,
Yeah,
a card bark, odd bark.
I like it, I like it.
I have
Click
my,
on it, and if you
click
click
on it,
on
so
it,
it'll
then we just
Oh.
get big.
Yes.
And I don't have to see everybody who's online right now.
Right.
Exactly.
Get
Which
off,
I definitely
get
do not want to see.
Like, oh my God, what are they doing? I
So
think
it's
you
my
don't,
information, it's a
yeah.
line, it's got my name on top. I kind of try to stay away from the idea of making up business names. I think if somebody calls, you know, gets your business card and you have a business name on there and they try to look up that name, they're not gonna find anything.
Well, unless you register it as a business and
Well, of
get
course.
a phone number for it and do all that.
Right,
So,
exactly.
which you're not you're not ready for that yet. You're still an
No.
intern.
And it's like Ali had mentioned before, people are gonna want your card and they're gonna want your information. And it's really like almost like a handshake. Like, here's my card, you shake the person's hand and it's only for that moment in time. And then if it's a real contact, they're gonna have your
Yeah.
card within a week. They're gonna
Yeah.
either contact you or they're gonna
Yeah.
throw it away, one way or the other. And so that's it. It's white, it's clean, and it's got my information. I don't have my Tumblr on there because I haven't, my tweet are on there because I don't tweet.
why is designer small?
That was my
And,
first question.
and
That's a
different.
good question.
And different.
And different.
It's different because I
Because you're a
wanted to
designer.
list my things, like database, web design, as the things that I'm doing. And designer is actually just kind of a afterthought.
Exactly, I would just lose it.
I would lose it if it's an afterthought.
And I do think your database and web design covers all that. We know you're a designer for web design. And so it's, because designer, like what kind of designer and why is it small? But I would, because I think the database and web design stands out great with your name, but the designer's totally makes my eyes wander and wonder. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I would lose it.
Because it
Okay.
looks really good. I mean, I like this simplicity.
Well,
Go ahead.
I would lose it because not only, well, it's smaller, so that does show that it's like, something that you're not trying to emphasize, but the fact that it's a different color kind of does emphasize it. You know what I mean? So it kind of stands out as opposed to the other two because it's a different color. So I think that's another reason to get rid of it. I was just gonna give two other critiques. I would make the spacing between database and web design a little bit tighter.
Yes.
And also where you have your Wix page at the bottom, you're gonna wanna bring it all the way over to the right so that the T is lined up with the M from your gmail.com. Does that make sense?
Yep, yes it does. I see that.
And then I was curious, how many fonts are you using on here?
2.
2, okay, good, okay, because for some reason it looked like there was 3, but that's good, I think 2 is good.
Right, yeah, the serif and then the sans serif, top and bottom.
Okay,
I don't think anything else including your address, and since it's not a business address where you can walk in, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if just the phone and the email and web is enough.
Okay, I felt like it would be pretty stark if it just had the phone.
And I think, the idea that it's in Las Vegas too
Oh,
is,
true.
but then again, when I was thinking about when I've been with you and people have been asking you for business cards, they're all in Santa Fe. So I don't know how other people feel about the address issue.
No, it's definitely something to think about. I mean, I would like to fill it with something else though, if at all possible.
Yeah.
Just for the ballot.
Yeah. But, no, I know what you mean. I mean, kind of now it's almost a placeholder. It's just my home address. And for a business, there's nobody who really cares about my home address.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you need to have your home address on there. I think just your phone number, your.
Yeah, and get rid of phone. Just put your number.
Just put your
Nice
number.
and simple like that, with the little dots. Decimals, it just looks a little, because we know it's your phone number. Everybody knows when they see the dots, it's a phone number.
Right.
It'll simplify it and it'll just clean it up, but I agree, just phone number and your email address maybe.
So is there not being a designer here, but maybe to remove that space between the phone, the email and the web to do what he's talking about with balancing, like Ali, after or I think it was you that, close up the space between where it says database and web design and lose designer, and then if the bottom corner was just the phone number and the email and the website also closer together, would that work?
Yeah.
Balance, is concerned about the balance of it? With the address?
I think it would. I think it would work.
Okay.
But then-
I appreciate it because it's
All in
always,
the same font, right?
Yeah, the phone,
okay, the phone. and the
Gmail
mail.
address and web address in the same font, but tight together, like you have your address, and down in the right-hand corner,
Okay.
aligned, and then database web design.
I'd like something third to replace
You'd like a
designer.
third thing?
Yeah,
Why? Your name's up there. That's balancing the left-hand side.
okay.
You don't need a third thing. I think database and web design is what you do.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't need, yeah,
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. If it's gonna have less of this here, there wouldn't be a need for the balancing end
no.
on this end over here.
Why don't you try it and post it up there? Why don't you try those things and post it, and let's take a look at how it looks. And
Okay.
if it looks too empty, we can figure out a way make the fonts maybe larger, or
Yeah.
center your name up at the top and make it larger, and do the
Right.
kerning so that it takes up the whole space up top. You know, let's think about that, but let's look at it first without those things in there.
Okay,
Because it might look nice and clean and good.
yeah. Definitely, no, it's definitely, that's where I think that maybe would describe me best, would be this like this with just the information, web designer, database,
Mhm.
and my name.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. It's not easy for me, this,
Mhm. Yeah.
especially since I've been spending all these, well, past week literally just looking at Word document and converting it into an Excel document.
Okay, so now would be a really good time to talk about how it's going.
That's what I've been doing. The Museum of Spanish Colonial Arts collections database is what the project that I'm working on now, and then the Museum of Mexico Press, continuing work on their admin website, on their website, so they can update the website. I mean, it's kind of just a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 thing, and I've had, like, the weather has been kind of not very nice on my back, unfortunately, but that's kind of a side note. I think I'm having more trouble at home from having this straight job, going from school to converting over to a job.
Okay,
Sort of
so
thing.
the transition between
Transition.
having your day mapped out for you
Right.
to you having to map out your day.
Well, the day's taken up. It's the rest of the time. Yes, the rest of the day. Trying to manage my time
Okay.
outside of work. And it's not an AmeriCorps thing, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Of course, it's part of the transition from school to professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I feel that I'm having trouble trying to manage my time between after getting home from work. When there's, I mean, there's some things I can do, emails and whatnot during the day that I can do work on. But like working on the card and working on my website, kind of, it's like, well, I get home and I have my dinner and then relax for a little while and then it's time to go to bed.
Right. So the idea is that once you're done with work, you don't really have the energy to do these other things.
Right, or I feel like I've spent my time, my energy at work,
Right.
but there's other things that need to be done. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
just the way I feel.
Well, it's not an uncommon problem, right?
Right.
It's very normal as you kind of transition. And you should know that time for the class and time to do things for the class is also part of your whole AmeriCorps experience. So, and those are hours that are logged as part of your AmeriCorps experience, right?
Oh, of course.
So you don't have to do those things at home. You can integrate them in some way into your day. Because you're at Mimi and Doug's office for a period of time during the day, right?
Right.
So I would take advantage of Mimi being right there and being able to talk to her and do some of your work there and show her, iterations of the business card or, work progress on your website, talk to Doug about it. I mean, these are
Yeah.
things that are part of your whole AmeriCorps experience.
That's another way of looking at it, really. But yeah, because I think I look at it more like trying to just get the hours completed for the work and not thinking about the class experience as part of the AmeriCorps internship.
Right. I mean, this is your time to actually it's your time to actually use this AmeriCorps internship as a way to practice some of this other stuff, and that's why it's training. That's why the class is training and it's logged as part of your total AmeriCorps hours, because it's integrated. Now's the time you can do that. When you're at a regular job, you can't do that.
Right.
That's what your mentors are for. They're there to help you navigate these things.
Great.
And you're also commuting, and when you commute,
Yeah.
you're taking 2 hours out of your day that you would have been home having dinner, and then you'd have 2 extra hours where you would feel like you could had the energy to do this stuff.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
my advice to you is integrate it into your day.
Okay.
Mimi, do you have thoughts on that?
Let me see, am I not muted?
You're not
We can
muted.
hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, good. So what I think is that, that Doug will be very understanding of that. You know, if you just say, you know, I need to spend an hour today doing, you know, working on prep for class
Right.
or, you know, getting my business card ready for, you know, for whatever, you know, like going to creative mornings and, you know, just, if you tell him, I'm sure, be understanding about it, and especially given the commute situation. And, you know, we're heading into the bad weather, plan too, so for anybody who's gonna be continuing to commute, we need to talk to your supervisors about, working from home if the road is dangerous.
Right, yeah, I gotta keep track of the weather.
Yeah, we really do.
You really do. And that anybody who's commuting, so that goes for all of you. Please, you know, be mindful of the weather and do not put yourselves in danger. Do not.
And if Lauren, you know, I guess Lauren, you can just, when you talk to the mentors, just say that this is what we tell them and
Yeah.
please allow them to work from home if it's possible on any day when it looks like it'll be dangerous, coming or going, because sometimes you get into town and then about 3 o'clock, things start to get scary when you probably should have just, it would have been better to stay at home.
That's a good point to bring up, especially with Chris and I having to commute to Los Alamos.
Absolutely.
Because, like, I don't know how much, or how credible this is or whatever, but the El Nino storm.
Yeah.
That's like, I read somewhere the higher elevations are supposed to be getting higher than average snowfall between December to next February, so.
That is true. And I really encourage all of you to be mindful of the weather and do not put yourselves in danger. Really. And I will talk to all of your supervisors. As a matter of fact, I'll make that a check-in this week. And I'll talk to all of them about that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure Doug will be very,
For those of you that are, you know, the state personnel website has